That's Renningers Flea Market here in Melbourne, Florida. I was just in there walking all over the place and grabbed a few CDs, so let's see what I got. Greetings y'all, welcome to another video. Today we are talking about Renningers Flea Market in Melbourne, Florida. Or Melbourne, I don't know. In Australia you would call it Melbourne. That's what is on my brain. I don't know, maybe it's Melbourne in Florida. I don't know, probably should ask one of the locals while I was there, but I didn't, so who knows? We'll never know. How will we ever get through life without knowing the answer to that question? So, it's a flea market, you know, you go in, it's an indoor one. There aren't really any outdoor tables and stuff like that. Vendors all over the place. They have, I think, about 4 different vendors selling CDs and records. I have visited this place maybe 2 or 3 times. Found some really good stuff over those visits. And, you know, it's a really cool place. You know, it's always fun in those kind of places just to kind of walk around and just see, aside from the CDs and records, just see what other kind of odd little things are being sold in people's booths, you know. So it's kind of interesting visiting those. I don't go to them all that much. There's one near where I live that I used to go to kind of frequently growing up, but haven't really visited there all that much lately. But yeah, so it was a cool place to visit, and let's see what I picked up. 1981, we get Squeeze's album, East Side Story. I have one CD by Squeeze. I have the singles album that they released for, I think it's called 45s and Under, or something like that. Which is really good. It's a good little best of collection of singles. And, you know, they're a really good band. They're not one I think of all that often. And I saw this at the one vendor. This guy, all his CDs were $1. So I got this for $1, which is a pretty good deal. Absolutely nothing in the booklet there, unfortunately. But that's how CDs were originally. There wasn't a whole lot of information for the most part inside. But, you know, I always kind of thought Squeeze, like, singles collection was kind of all I needed. And, you know, I mean, to some degree, I think that kind of still holds true. But, you know, this is a really good record. There's a couple other songs on here that I really liked. In Quintessence, Someone Else's Heart. Of course, the big single was Tempted, Piccadilly, Mumbo Jumbo, and Messed Around. And it's kind of interesting, they kind of list who the singer was, because different guys kind of took up the lead vocals on different songs, so they kind of list them here on the back there on the track listing. But it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, when I first started listening to this record at the beginning, the first like 4 or 5 songs I really was digging, and I was like, holy moly, man, I gotta really start maybe digging into more of the Squeeze catalog, you know. And then it kind of got a little bit of a lull, and then the end kind of picked up again. But yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to hear people out there letting me know what other albums by Squeeze they would recommend. You know, I'd just be kind of curious maybe to dig a little bit more into their catalog. 1977, we get the album by Culture, the reggae band, and 2/7's Clash. I think this is their debut. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive, but I think it is. I like Culture. I have maybe 2 CDs by them. One of them, International Herb, was really difficult to kind of get a copy of that. If you watch my video, I'll maybe put a link below. When I visited this record store in Alaska, Obsession Records, I finally found their album International Herb after a kind of a search, and I kind of tell the story in that. But you know, again, saw this for $1, wasn't familiar with it, picked it up. I posted a picture somewhere that I picked these up, and a bunch of people were talking about how much they loved this record and how much they like it. And it's good. Here's the booklet. It's got some little liner notes, a little bit of history. I think there's I think originally maybe the cover art was a little different. I'll have to look it up. But I thought I remember seeing there was originally different artwork on the original release. This is Shinachie Entertainment in Newton, New Jersey. I guess released this, and can order some stuff from them if you want. I'm sure they don't exist anymore, so you would probably never get anything. But yeah, it's a good, collection of reggae tunes. Really like it. Some of the tracks on here that I dig: Get Ready to Ride the Lion to Zion, See Them A Come, Natty Dread Taking Over, 2/7's Clash, the title tune, and I'm Not Ashamed is another one to check out. So yeah, really good collection of tunes. I think there's been multiple versions of this album released over the years, like different anniversary issues and probably remasters and stuff like that. But this is kind of just the bare bones, no bonus tracks or anything like that. 1982, we get Soft Cell and their album Non-Stop Erotic Cabaret. This, of course, is the record with their probably biggest known tune, Tainted Love. And that's kind of why I picked it up. It was $1. I saw it there, it's kind of, I don't know anything else by them. So I picked this up. I like that song quite a bit. It's a really good one. It certainly has stood the test of time. It's a great version of that song. And I just kind of, whenever I see some like kind of new wave classic, the song is a classic and I don't know anything else by them and I see the album there and it's really cheap, I usually pick them up just to see what else is, on the album. And this one's all right. There's a couple of tunes on here that I didn't mind, like CD Films, Entertain Me, Bedsitter, and Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. That's a really good tune. That one made me wonder if it was released as a single. It sounds like it probably could have been or possibly had been. Then there's some like bonus tracks on here. There's the 12-inch mix of Tainted Love with Where Did Our Love Go, which, back then a lot of times certain radio stations would play that version instead of just the Tainted Love. And then there's a dub mix of it as well. Both of those are like 9 minutes long, but kind of interesting record just to kind of see what else these guys had come up with, but not bad. $1. 2004, we get Social D, Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll. Really like Social D. I've seen them live a bunch of times. They don't have a ton of records, but they have quite a few of them. Seen Mike Ness live as well. He put out a really good, I don't know how many solo records he put out, but he put out one. I think it's all covers. He did a really good cover version of Don't Think Twice, Bob Dylan tune that I really like. So this one has the track Reach for the Sky on it, which I was familiar with. I think back when this came out, iTunes were doing like free singles, like every week I think they'd give away a free single. And I think that's where I picked up Reach for the Sky. And I love that song. I just think it's one of their best tunes. Really, really love it. So never had this one and saw it there in a different booth. This one I think was $4 or $5, which is a little on the high end, but like I said, I kind of was curious about this record. I like that tune, so I decided to grab it. And it's a really good collection of tunes. I really like this one. Besides Reach for the Sky, I also like Highway 101, Don't Take Me for Granted, and Nickels and Dimes is another really good one. But Reach for the Sky is the standout track. Highway 101 is really, really good. That's starting to become one of my favorite tunes on here as well. Or just in general, Social D. But yeah, really happy with this one. 2000, we get the best of the Posies called Dream All Day. This was in another booth. This guy, he had just like massive amounts of CDs and DVDs and just like piled in. Like I had to like move stuff out of the way to try to get to see like everything he had. And he had a pretty good selection. The prices were kind of, some of it was a little bit on the high side. I think I got one other one from him too. You see these dots where the prices, I don't remember exactly, but I feel like this one might have been $4 or $5 or something. But I'm familiar with the Posies as a band, but I wasn't really familiar with them. Like I couldn't think of any of their tunes off the top of my head, but I just remember that band. And so, I just kind of decided to give it a try and pick it up, and just out of curiosity. I mean, this is like about as 90s alternative rock as you can get. Listening to this, it sounds like you're almost like listening to the soundtrack to some like indie film that came out in the 90s, you know, starring Courtney Cox or something. I don't know. No offense to Courtney Cox or indie films of the 90s, but you know, it's just, you know, there's a couple of standout tracks. A lot of it kind of sort of just listening to it as a whole just kind of starts, some of it starts just kind of blending together, you know, but some of the tunes I dig on this are My Big Mouth, Golden Blunders, Definite Door, Going, Going, Gone, which that one sounded familiar. I feel like I remember that one from back in the 90s. And then of course Dream All Day, which this album is named after. That's, if you know anything by the Posies, that's the tune that you know. Like when I heard it on here, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this one. So yeah, you know, not bad, not a bad pickup. 1999, we get the Dance Hall Crashers and their album Purr. This band is ska, kind of alternative. I first discovered them in 95 maybe, or 96 with their album, I think it's Hi Honey I'm Home, or Hi Honey, or Honey I'm Homely, something like that. But you know, there was a tune called Lost Again on that record that I really loved, and I picked up the album, and it's just a perfect collection of like 90s, mid-90s ska, or I don't know if you want to refer to it as like that third wave ska stuff, but really good. And I picked up a couple of their other records over the years. Had never heard of this one, and I think this might be their final record. I think maybe they split up after this. I'm not positive, but you know, again, saw this there. It was a little on the pricey side, $4 or $5 maybe. But you know, whoops. I like this band, so I decided to grab it, and it's great. It's another good collection of you know, ska tunes from this band. Just really upbeat, catchy stuff. You know, kind of like they have like dual female singers kind of going back and forth that are it's kind of cool, you know, gives it a nice, you know, certain, you know, sound to things. Some of the tracks on here I like are Beverly Kills, The Real You, Everything to Lose, Make Her Purr, and Do You Think You're Beautiful? Do you? You are. You are. But yeah, really good collection of tunes. I really like this one, you know. Again, I kind of just picked it up because I felt like you know, I was in the shop sometimes, and I feel like obligated if I have trouble walking out of places without picking anything up. And even though this was a flea market, this particular vendor was kind of enclosed, almost like a shop. So walking in there, talking to the dude, you know, I just kind of would have felt a little weird if I walked out not finding anything. So luckily, you know, that he had this, and it wasn't like I was picking up something where I was like, wow, man, I didn't want that. You know, like I'm walking out of stores. I feel like I probably have done that in the past. But yeah, so it's a good one. And, you know, cool place. Renningers up there in Melbourne, Florida. And check it out if you're driving by. It's right off of 95. So if you're, you know, driving in that area, you probably will see it on the side of the road there. Easy in, easy out, as they say. What the hell am I talking about? Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know if you're familiar with any of these. Tell me what tunes you like, or like I said, recommend any other albums from Squeeze maybe that you think I should maybe check out. And we'll see you another time. See you later.